The Barre des Écrins is a mountain in the French Alps with a peak at 4,102 meters altitude. It is the highest peak of the Massif des Écrins and the Dauphiné Alps, and the most southerly alpine peak in Europe that is higher than 4,000 meters. It is the only 4,000 meters mountain in France that lies outside the Mont Blanc Massif. Before the annexation of Savoy in 1860, it was the highest mountain in France. Geography. Location. The Barre des Écrins is the highest peak in the Provence-Alpes Côte d'Azur region, including all of Occitania and the Southern Alps. It is located in the commune of Pelvoux and is situated near the drainage divide between the Durance and the m.It. This divide passes 250 meters west of the summit, along the ridge that leads to the summit of the sub-peak Dôme des Écrins. The south face of the mountain is rocky while the north face is ice, as it is the starting point of the Glacier Blanc. The mountain is surrounded by 4 glaciers. To the northwest is the Bon-Pierre Glacier, to the northeast the Glacier Blanc, to the southwest the Glacier du Val and de l'Epelate, and finally in the southeast the Glacier Noir. It is separated from the snow dome of Écrins by the Lorry Gap to the west, the Barre Noir by the Écrins Gap to the northeast, and by Fifre via the Col des Avalanches to the south. Geology. The mountain consists of migmatized gneiss, an acidic rock composed of quartz feldspar. On the upper slopes, there is an amphibolic face over the top of the migmatized gneiss forming the top. These formations overlap a large granite pluton that forms the summit of Pelvoux. History. The Écrins were discovered by geographers belatedly in the 19th century when they were the highest point in France. The mountains are actually located on the borders of the Oisans and Briançonnais, with the highest point completely in Briançonnais. They were sometimes called Point of Arsines by locals. The Englishmen A. W. Moore, Horace Walker, and Edward Whymper, guided by Michel Croz from Chamonix and Christian Almer from Switzerland, made the first ascent of the Barre des Écrins on 25 June 1864. They cut steps on the north face of the Barre until they reached the top of the eastern edge via the Whymper corridor. They then reached the top of this high ridge, which was composed of very unstable rocks. Edward Whymper described the ascension in his book Scrambles Amongst the Alps in the years 1860–69. William August Coolidge made the first direct climb up the north face of the Barre des Écrins in July 1870 by cutting 500 steps. The first ascent without a guide is credited to Frederick Gardner in 1878, accompanied by Charles and Lawrence Pilkington. The southern face was climbed for the first time in 1880 by Pierre Gaspard together with Henry Duhamel. The south pillar, a part of the Black Glacier ending at the top, was climbed for the first time in 1944 by the famous couple of climbers Jean and Jean Franco. Ascent. The Barre des Écrins attracts many climbers and has many routes to the top. The mountain is traditionally scaled from the Pre to Madame Carl in the valley of Isle-Freude. The normal route climbs the entire length of the Glacier Blanc. This is a much-used route because it is the usual way to the Dôme des Écrins, one of the most easily climbed 4,000 meters alpine peaks. It starts from the Refuge des Écrins and climbs the north face almost up to the Lorry Saddle, where the routes to the Dôme and the Barre divide. The ascent of the Barre continues by a rocky arete all the way to the summit. The guides from Le Barre have equipped the Col des Écrins with cables allowing them to bring the clients to the summit. Other more challenging routes to the summit exist, such as the south face rated AD. The quality of the rock on the mountain ranges from poor to average, and especially on the south face of the mountain the risk of rockfall is significant. It is possible to climb the direct Coolidge in late spring directly to the summit with crampons and an ice axe. bikes, depending on snow conditions. This route can also be done on skis. The south-north traverse of the Barre des Écrins is also one of the classic routes of the Massif. In summer it is possible to climb a steep path on the south face, with the Pilier Sud being the most traveled route. The record for an ascent on foot is 1 hour 55 minutes by Matteo Giacomoid in June 2012. Starting from m.It to Madame Carl by the normal route of the Dome and the Wimpy corridor. He beat the old record by Hubert Vivet. The record for round-trip ski mountaineering is 2 hours 51 minutes by Nicolas Bonnard in 2009 from the m.It to Madame Carl.